सुजनार्बुदराधिता पादायुगं युगधर्मधुरन्धरा पात्रवरम् वरदा भयदायक पूज्यपदम् प्रणमामि सदा प्रभु पादपदम् भजनो जितसाजना संगापते पतिताधिककारुणे कैकागतिम् गतिवाञ्छितवाञ्छका चिन्त्यपदम् प्रणमामि सदा प्रभु पादपदम् अतिकोमलकञ्चन दीर्घतनो तनुनिन्दित हेमाम्रे नालमदम् मदनार्बुदवाण्डिता चन्द्रपदम् प्रणमामि सदा प्रभु पादपदम् निजसेवकतारका रञ्जीविधो विदुताहितहों कृता सिंहवरम् वरनागतवालिशा छन्दपदम् प्रणमामि सदा प्रभु पादपदम् विपुलीकृतवैभवा गौरभुवा भुवनेषु विकीर्तिता गौरादयम् दयनीयगणार्पिता गौरपदम् प्रणमामि सदा प्रभु पादपदम् चिरगौरजनाश्रया विश्वगुरु गुरुगौरकिशोरका दास्यपरम् परमादृतभक्तिविनोदपदम् प्रणमामि सदा प्रभु पादपदम् रघुरूपसनातन कीर्तिधरा धरणीतलकीर्तिता जीवकविम् कविराजनरोत्तमा साख्यपदम् प्रणमामि सदा प्रभु पादपदम् कृपया हरिकीर्तन मूर्तिधरा धरणीवरहारका गौराजनम् जनकादिकवात्सला स्निग्धपदम् प्रणमामि सदा प्रभु पादपदम् शरणागतकिङ्कर कल्पतरो तरुधीकृतधीरवा धन्यवरम् वरदेन्द्रगणार्चिता दिव्यपदम् प्रणमामि सदा प्रभु पादपदम् परहंसवरं परमार्थपतिं पतितो धरणे कृत वेशायतिम् जगणे परि सेव्यपदं प्रणमामि सदा प्रभु पादपदम् वृषभानसुतादये तानुचर चरणाश्रितरेणुधरस्तमहम् महदद्भुतपावन शक्तिपदं प्रणमामि सदा प्रभु पादपदम् प्रणमामि सदा प्रभुपादपदं प्रणमामि सदा प्रभुपादपदं प्रणमामि सदा प्रभु पादपदं प्रणमामि सदा प्रभु पादपदम् प्रणमामि सदा प्रभु पादपदम् जय भक्ति सिद्धांत सरस्वती प्रभुपाद भक्ति सिद्धांत सरस्वती प्रभुपाद भक्ति रक्षक श्रीधर गोस्वामी भक्ति रक्षक श्रीधर गोस्वामी गुरुदेवा जय गुरुदेवा गुरुदेवा जय गुरुदेवा प्रभु पराजय प्रभु पराजय प्रभु परा निताय गौर हरि बोल हरि बोल हरि बोल निताय गौर हरि बोल निताय गौर हरि बोल हरि बोल हरि बोल निताय गौर हरि बोल गौर प्रेमानंदे हरि हरि बोल
Oh,
थैंक यू
Premanande Jai. Beautiful. We have so much to thank Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Prabhupada for, including inaugurating in the modern age this Vrindavan Parikram, which we're doing. Are you the moderator, Jashodari Didi?
No, Margie got Janavadi today.
I don't see her anywhere.
Didi.
Anyway, I was going to suggest that if Padmanabhan Raj isn't here, that we just start off with Narada-kunda, then Killola-kunda, Sankachuta, and all that. And then when he comes, so I'll do the Jayadvani, and if he's not here by then, we'll go right into Narada-kunda after Janavik Didi says her bit. Jai Shri Shri Guru Gauranga Gandharvika Giridhari Shri Shri Radha Vinod Bihari Radha Damara Radha Radha Manju Ki Jai Jai Nityalita Bhavishta Om Vishnu Padasta Tarsat Sri Srimad Bhakti Vedanta Swami Maharaja Prabhupada Ki Jai Jai Nityalita Bhavishta Om Vishnu Padasta Tarsat Sri Srimad Bhakti Vedanta Narayan Goswami Raj Ki Jai Jai Nityalita Bhavishta Om Vishnu Pad Asta Tarsat Sri Srimad Bhakti Pragyan Kesha Goswami Raj Ki Jai Jai Nityalita Bhavishta Om Vishnu Padasta Tarsat Sri Srimad Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Prabhupada Ki Jai Mahabhagavad Shri Gaur Kishoras Babaji Maharaj Ki Jai Saptam Goswami Shri Sachitananda Bhakti Vinod Thakur Ki Jai Vaishnava Sarvabhauma Shri Jagannath Das Babaji Maharaj Ki Jai Gauravinanta Charja Shri Baladev Vidyabhushan Prabhu Ki Jai Shri Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur Ki Jai Shri Narottam Srinivas Shamananda Prabhu Traya Ki Jai Shri Krishna's Kaviraj Goswami Prabhu Ki Jai Shri Rup Shri Sanatan Bhatta Raghunath Shri Jiva Gopal Bhatta Das Raghunath Sat Goswami Prabhu Ki Jai Shri Sarup Damodar Roy Ramananda Adi Gaura Pasha Bani Ki Jai Namacharya Shaharas Thakur Ki Jai Premzika Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivas Adi Gaura Bhakta Bindi Ki Jai Shri Antardeep Mayapur, Sri Mantardeep Godumadeep, Madhadeep, Koladeep, Rodadeep, Janadeep, Modadumadeep, Rodadeep, Vamakashinabhritam Ki Jai, Shri Radha Krishna Gopa Gopi Govardhana Dwara Suratmaka, Shri Braj Mandal Ki Jai, Syama-kunda Radha Kunda Jamuna Ganga, Tulasi Bhakti Devi Ki Jai, Vrindavaneshwari Vishabhananandini, Srimati Radharani Ki Jai, Lalita Vishaka, Aryastasaki Vindi Ki Jai, Rupa Manjari, Rati Manjari, Adi Manjari, Vrinda Ki Jai, Purnamasi Devi Ki Jai, Vrinda Devi Ki Jai, Gopeshwar Mahadev Ki Jai, Shri Jagannath Baladev, Subhadra, Sudarshan, Chakraju Ki Jai, Bhakta Vignaminath Sri Narsingha Bhagavan Ki Jai, Bhakta Raj, Shri Prahlad Maharaj Ki Jai, Shri Harinam Prabhu Ki Jai, Shri Bhuvana Mangala Harinam Sankirtan Ki Jai, Brihat Pradanga Ki Jai, Shri Braj Mandala Parikram Ki Jai, Urjavrat Ki Jai, Ananda Gauri Vaishnava and Ki Jai, Nitai Gaur Premanande, Hari Hari Bol.
Thank you, Maharaj. Dhanyavad pranams. Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Padakamalam Shri Guru Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagar Jatam Sahagana Raghunantan Vitam Tam Sajivam Satvaitam Savaradutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Shri Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamscha Om Jnana-timirandasya Jnananjana-shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha Nama Om Vishnupadaya Radhikaya Priyatmani Shri Srimad Bhakti Vedanta Narayana Iti Namini Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Shri Srimad Bhakti Vedanta Swami Iti Namini Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Vasachade Shatarine Namo Mahapadanyaye Krishna Prema Pradayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namine Gaura Tasve Namaha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandha Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Shri Radha Kanta Namastute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Rishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Harite Vanchakalpatarabhya Kripa Sindhu Bevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Dhanyavad pranams to all the devotees. Dhanyavad pranams to all the Maharajas present. Srimad Bhaktivedanta Vekanas Maharaj, Srimad Bhaktivedanta Tirandi Maharaj, and I think we have Srimad Bhaktivedanta Shruti Maharaj also. So Dhanyavad pranams to all the devotees. I'm Janavadasi coming to you from South Africa. It's an absolute honor for me to be here today on this 9th day of Kartik. And for today, we actually going to start off with Srimad Bhaktivedanta Vekanas Maharaj, who's going to talk to us about Narada-kunda while we wait for the next speaker to come on. Maharaj, over to you.
Vekanas Maharaj, Padmanabh Maharaj has also arrived. So maybe, I don't know if we want to get him started first.
Depends if he wants to settle in or not. There he is. In 1997, when I went to Parikram for the first time with Srila Gurudev, I was standing, it was the afternoon, and we were at Barshana. We were staying at this ashram, the Modi Bhavan, everybody in one big room. And nearby was a small field where Gurudev was going to give afternoon katha. And he was standing in the field, and I was with a dear friend Prankishore, who very close with Srila Gurudev, and we were standing there. And then all of a sudden along the road came Padmanabha Maharaj, who at that time was still Urukram. And he was walking very like a elephant, I guess, slow and graceful. And Gurudev looked at him and he gazed at him and he smiled and he said, "There he is, walking like old man." In other words, it's his own pace. And Gurudev just laughed. He had so much affection for Padmanabha Maharaj, who always manages to get in just on time. So if he'd like to speak now, he can, or he can. Otherwise, Tridandi Maharaj and I will do the brief spots very close to our mat, Giriraj Gaudiya Mat, and then he can speak for the whole rest of the time about Srila Sridhar Maharaj. So let's ask him. Hey, where's your hats, Maharaj? You don't have any hats on.
I do. Don't worry.
Maharaj, Padmanabha Maharaj, are you going to speak now, or is
Yes,
Vaikanas Maharaj going to speak?
I am going to speak now because I'm already late.
Yep.
10 minutes late. So
Yep.
I'm not going to give
Yep.
up time. And I also
Yep.
have a limit in this room that I can be here with all these devotees. So
Okay.
Okay.
You're on live, Maharaj.
I'm so happy to see both of your faces. I haven't seen you in person for like a year, Sridhara Maharaj and Vaikanas Maharaj. Wow. Maybe what, like 4 years?
Yeah.
I think you have to hold the mic closer to Padmanabha Maharaj. I can't hear so much.
Hey, have you turned on the mic? He's saying that he can't hear me.
I'm straining to hear you.
The sound is very soft.
Yeah.
Mic. And if I will turn on this mic, then we cannot hear you, but you will hear good, like it will be good sound.
We'll just give there's this mic.
No, this is for the camera, other camera.
This is
Okay.
This is for Zoom.
so I'm supposed to wear two.
Yes.
Okay.
Why
So
not both?
while Maharaj is getting ready, I just want to say welcome to Maharaj. Dhanavad Pranams. Maharaj is a disciple of Srila Swami Maharaj, and then he took shelter of.
Sridhara Maharaj, can you hear me now?
Yeah, much better.
Yes,
Is
much
this coming
better.
through now?
Yeah, much better. Much
Yes
better.
or
Much
no?
better.
Now I'm not hearing him at all.
That's okay. That's okay. You don't need to hear me. You don't need to hear.
So apparently, if I want the microphone to work, I cannot hear all of you.
No, that's okay. That's okay, Maharaj.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So is everything ready to start? Both of the phones, both of the cameras. Okay. So first of all, I'm offering my Dhanavad pranams to my Vaishnav Sannyasi God brothers, Pujapad Bhaktivedanta Tridandi Maharaj and Pujapad Bhaktivedanta Vaikanas Maharaj. And so if they give me their blessings, then I can speak something about my Siksha Guru, Srila Bhakti Rakshaka Sridhara Gosvami Maharaj today. It would be better if I had a actual amplified microphone, but I don't. So, I'm doing the best I can. I don't have a lot of lung power. So if there happens to be anyone that possesses one in this place, that would be very good. Okay. Jai Suparikar Shri Shri Guru Gauranga Gandharvika Giridhari Shri Shri Radha Vinod Bihari Jiu Ki. What? Shri Shri Radha Vinod Bihari Jiu Ki. Jai Nityalila Pravishta Om Vishnupad Paramahansa Astatarasata Shri Shila A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Maharaj Srila Prabhupada Ki. Nityalila Pravishta Om Vishnupad Paramahansa Ashtotarasata Sri Srila Bhakti Rakshaka Sridhara Goswami Maharaja Ki Jai. Srila Sridhar Maharaj Transcendental Tirobhav Mahamahotsav Titi Ki Jai. Srila Bhakti Rakshaka Sridhar Goswami Maharaja Ki Jai. Nityalila Pravishtom Vishnupad Paramahansa Ashtotarasata Sri Srila Bhakti Pragyan Keshava Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai. Nityalila Pravishtom Vishnupad Paramahansa Astatarasata Sri Srimad Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Thakur Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai Jai Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai Jai Mahabhagavat Srila Gaurkishora Das Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai Shri Srila Sachidananda Bhakti Vinod Thakur Ki Jai Vaishnav Sarvabhaum Srila Jagannath Das Babaji Maharaj Ki Jai Jai Shri Gaudiya Vedanta Charja Baladev Vibhusan Prabhu Ki Jai Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur Ki Jai Shri Narottam Srinivas Shyamananda Prabhu Trai Ki Jai Srila Krishna Das Kaviraj Goswami Prabhu Ki Jai Shri Rupa Sanatan Bhatta Raghunath Shri Jiva Gopala Bhatta Dasa Raghunath Sada Goswami Prabhu Ki Jai Srila Sarup Damodar Rai Ramanandari Gaur Parsada Vrinda Ki Jai Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Jai Prem Se Gaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasari Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai Shri Navadvipa Dham Ki Jai Jai Shri Shri Radha Krishna Gopa Gopi Go Govardhan Dvadashavanatmaka Shri Braj Mandala Dham Ki Jai Jai Shri Shri Syama-kunda Radha-kunda Yamuna Ganga Tulsi Bhakti Devi Ki Jai Jai Shri Shri Radha Govinda Radha Gopinath Radha Madan Mohan Jiyo Ki Jai Shri Shri Radha Gokulananda Radha Shyama Sundar Radha Raman Radha Damodar Jiyo Ki Jai Jai Shrimati Lalita Vishaka Adi Ashtasaki Vrinda Ki Jai Shri Rupa Manjari Rati Manjari Ananga Manjari Adi Manjari Vrinda Ki Jai Srimati Brinda Devi Ki Jai, Srimati Purnamasi Yoga Maya Devi Ki Jai, Shri Gopi Swar Mahadev Ki Jai, Sarva Bhishta Pradata Giriraj Govardhan Ki Jai, Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam Ki Jai, Shri Jagannatha Baladev Subhadra Sudarshan Chakrajiv Ki Jai, Shri Purushottam Kshetra Shri Jagannath Puri Dham Ki Jai, Bhakti Vigna Vinashana Shri Nrsinga Dev Ki Jai, Bhakta Prabhu Shri Prahlad Maharaj Ki Jai, Charodam Charo Sampradaya Charo Acharya Ki Jai, Akara Matraj Shri Chaitanya Mat Ki Jai, Or Ananya Shaka Mat Samuha Ki Jai, Shri Vishva Vaishnava Raj Sabha Ki Jai, Anantakoti Vaishnava Brinda Ki Jai, Tribhuvana Pavana Harinam Samkirtana Ki Jai, Tribhuvana Mangala Harinam Prabhu Ki Jai, Hare Krishna Maha Mantra Ki Jai. Louder. Sachinandan Gaur Hari Ki Jai. Shri Nityananda Mahajana Ki Jai. Shri Pancha Tattva Ki Jai. Samaveta Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai. Samagata Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai. Jai Shri Damodar Mas Ki Jai, Damodar Vrat Ki Jai, Vraj Mandala Parikrama Ki Jai, Jai Shri Shri Radha Govinda Jiu Ki Jai, Radha Madhava Jiu Ki Jai, Jai Nityalila Pravishta Shri Srila Bhakti Rakshak Sridhar Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai. Everyone. Jai Jai Shri Radhe. Jai Jai Shri Radhe. Jai Jai Shri Radhe. Gaur Premanande. So, I think we should sing a little bit, no? Just real quick. Is there a kartal? Any kartals? Dhanyavad Prabhuji. Good to see you. Any kartals in the other room there?
Maharaj,
You got.
Maharaj,
Okay,
can you
very
hear me?
good.
Maharaj, Maharaj, you can't hear me. Nobody can hear me? Maharaj,
Better what?
Maharaj, can you hear me? I'm talking Maharaj. Maharaj. Maharaj.
Seems okay.
Maharaj, you can't hear me.
He can't hear because of that mic.
Yep. So I was going to tell him, we already did a kirtan. Anyway.
They already sing the kirtan.
I'm just going to sing for 3 minutes, okay?
For 3 minutes.
Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasari Gaur Bhakta Vrinda. Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasari Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Radhe Radhe Govinda, Govinda Radhe, Radhe Radhe Govinda, Govinda Radhe. Radhe Radhe Govinda, Govinda Radhe, Radhe Radhe Govinda, Govinda Radhe. Jaya Sachinandan, Jaya Gaura Hari, Sachinandan, Jaya Gaura Hari. Jaya Nitai, Jaya Gaur, Jaya Nitai, Jaya Gaur. Nitai Gaura Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol. Nitai Gaura Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol. Jai Shri Shri Nitai Gaur Premanande. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Mukam Karoti Vachalam Pangum Langayate Girim Yat Kripa Tamaham Vande Shri Gurum Dinataranam. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Shamaniti Namani Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharane Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Pashtacha Desatarini. Namo Vishnu Padaya Radhikaya Priyatmane Srimad Bhakti Vedanta Narayaniti Namani. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Rakshaka Sridhara Goswami Namani. Devam Divyatanum Suchanda Vadanam Balarkache Lanshitam Sandra Nanda Puram Sadeka Varanam Vairagya Vidyam Buddhim Sri Siddhanta Nidhim Subhakta Lasitam Saraswatanam Varam Panditam Shubhadam Madeka Sharanam Nyashishwaram Sridharam Vancha Kalpatarubhascha Kripa Sindhu Bevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Gurave Gaurachandraya Radhikaya Itadalaye Krishnaya Krishna Bhaktaya Tadabhaktaya Namo Namaha. Brindai Tulsidebai Priyayi Keshavasya Cha Krishna Bhakti Prade Devi Satyavachai Namo Namaha. Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasari Gaura Bhaktavinda Panchatattvatmakam Krishnam Bhakta Rupa Sarupakam Bhaktavataram Bhaktakyam Namami Bhakta Shaktikam. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama. So first of all, I offer my Dandavat Pranams, my Shraddha Pushpanjali at the lotus feet of my most worshipable beloved Gurudev Nitya Lila Pravishta Om Vishnu Pad Paramahansa Ashtotarasata Sri Srila A.C. Bhakti Vedanta Swami Maharaj Srila Prabhupada. Then I'm offering my same unlimited Dandavat Pranams and Shraddha Pushpanjali at the lotus feet of my most worshipable beloved Siksha Gurudevs Nitya Lila Pravishta Om Vishnu Pad Paramahansa Ashtotarasata Sri Srila Bhakti Rakshaka Sridhara Goswami Maharaj on his divine transcendental appearance day festival. And Nitya Lila Pravishta Om Vishnu Pad Paramahansa Ashtotarasata Sri Srila Bhakti Vedanta Narayan Goswami Maharaj. I offer my Dandavat Pranams to all my Sri Rupanuga Guru Varga, and I offer my Dandavat Pranams to all the Vaishnavas and to all the Vaishnavis. So, on Srila Sridhar Maharaj's appearance and disappearance days, generally I like to begin with a little bit of history, because he is such an important personality. And in this way, it's important for me also to remember my own relationship with him, how it began, how it continued, how it progressed, how it's going on even now, how I accepted him in my heart as my very beloved Siksha Guru on the same level as my Diksha Guru, Srila Prabhupada. And also what I want to do today is I want to read real nectar from Srila Sridhar Maharaj's incredible book, The Lord's Loving Search for His Lost Servant. And I did a lot of reading today from this book. And also I brushed up on Sri Guru and His grace, and this could go on for a long time, but we have a time limit. So anyway, first I just want to say that if it were not for my Guru Maharaj, Srila Prabhupada, having the relationship that he does with Srila Bhakti Rakshaka Sridhar Goswami Maharaj, I probably would have not come in contact with him. And so I'm just going to tell you a few historical landmarks that mark the progression of my being aware that He is who he is. And one of the main ones is in 1975. So Srila Prabhupada departed in 1977. So 2 years before Srila Prabhupada departed, we had this whole big marathon to produce the Chaitanya Charitamrita, which I've told the story many times. I won't tell it now. But Prabhupada gave us 2 months to do something that they probably thought would take about 2 years. And it was done by the miracle of Srila Prabhupada's transcendental, practically chastisement, that you have to do it in 2 months, otherwise you're disqualified as disciples. Okay, so we did it. We means a whole bunch of devotees. Shamarani Didi was there, heading up the art department, and all the other artists who always painted for Prabhupada's books, they're all there. Many artists flew in from all over the world. So, because the books were being printed, see, now I'm telling the story. Anyway, it happened. It happened in a very amazing, wonderful way. At the end of that 2 months, on the mark, exactly on the last day, we completed that order of 17 volumes in 2 months. So there was a letter that came from Srila Prabhupada, giving his mercy and blessings to all the devotees who had taken part in that big book production, marathon. He gave his blessings to all who were taking part in that. And he said, certainly all of you will go back to Godhead. He didn't say when. He didn't say in which life. He said, you will certainly go back to Godhead. So at least that's in my back pocket. I at least have that. Then there came the BBT newsletter, which was a monthly newsletter that was published in Los Angeles by our Ramaswar Prabhu. And that was how we got news back then about what was going on in the society. Every month there was a newsletter, the BBT newsletter. So at this time, on that BBT newsletter, then Ramaswar told about how Ramaswar told that he was asking Prabhupada a couple of questions. One question was that now you're going very quickly, and if you finish the Srimad Bhagavatam, then what will you translate after that? What will you translate after that? Will you translate maybe Mahabharata or Vedanta Sutra, something like that? Another big epic, like Srimad Bhagavatam. And then Prabhupada answered and he said, no, those books are not as important to us for our progress as the books of our 6 Goswamis and all of the Gaudiya Acharyas. They should all be translated. Okay, and practically they are now, mostly in English language. Most of them are translated. So then the second question, Srila Prabhupada, if you're not able to finish before you go from this world, Srimad Bhagavatam, is there anyone else who can do that? Prabhupada answered, and this is my sentence emblazoned in my mind and heart for the next 100 lifetimes. Prabhupada said there are only 2 people on the planet who can translate the Srimad Bhagavatam and write purports to the Srimad Bhagavatam in the English language. 2 people, myself and my godbrother Bhakti, Rakshaka, Sridhara Maharaj. Now just imagine, we'd never seen him. We didn't know practically anything about him. We did hear his name before. I even heard his voice because I worked at the BBT. And sometimes they put tapes on that just came from India, and there was a tape on where Prabhupada is sitting and talking with Bhakti Rakshaka Sridhar Maharaj. So like that, I was aware that this person existed. But this statement by Prabhupada was the final statement. Why did he say that? That there are only 2 people, myself and my godbrother Bhakti Rakshaka Sridhar Maharaj, in English language. because Srila Sridhara Maharaj was very fluent in English, and he was a fully realized Maha-Bhagavat Rasik Vaishnava. And that's why Prabhupada told that. Okay, so now I listened, I continued on. Then 2 years later, I found myself in Vrindavan, in Srila Prabhupada's final days in Vrindavan. And I was with him for about 6 weeks at that time. Going into his room, you can visit his same room, the same bed, the same arrangement is there in his room at Krishna Balaram Mandir, ISKCON. So every day I was going into Prabhupada's room and chanting. So anyway, there are many persons coming to see Prabhupada, but Prabhupada was only lying down. He barely had enough energy to speak at all. Okay. So Srila Prabhupada was asked the burning question on the minds of the ISKCON leaders. Srila Prabhupada, it appears that you may be leaving us. And this was actually unthinkable to us. This was unthinkable, that Prabhupada would actually leave. But nevertheless, now they had to ask the question to him. If you leave us, can you tell us, is there anyone who we can go to? This is those leaders, not all of them. There was only a few of them there in Vrindavan, like GBC members. But they were asking this important question. Can you recommend anyone who we can receive guidance from after you depart from this world? And he said, yes, my godbrother, Bhakti Rakshaka, Sridhara, Gosvami Maharaj. You can go to him for guidance. That was enough. I heard that, and that was the second confirmation. Okay? There was also another personality, just to mention, in the final days, who Prabhupada clearly demonstrated he had full confidence in, and he could also help his disciples. And that was Srila Bhaktivedanta Narayan Goswami Maharaj. Yes, so Srila Prabhupada, he was there in his final days, and then his samadhi was performed by the person who he requested to personally perform his samadhi, and that is Srila Bhaktivedanta Narayan Goswami Maharaj. That's the first time that I saw him, and it's the first time that I heard his singing. And when I heard his singing, I was wondering, who is this personality? So, in this way, as soon as my Diksha Guru and my life and soul, Srila Prabhupada, went into samadhi, my Siksha Guru appeared suddenly, although I didn't know it at the time. But he appeared there. So, then, now we fast forward again a couple of years. We come to 1979, 1 year after Prabhupada, or actually 2 years after Prabhupada departed. And in 1979, I came back to India. And, oh, by the way, the year before that, in Africa, I was in Nairobi, Kenya, Africa, and this BBT newsletter came. And the newsletter was the transcription of the entire conversation that the GBC members had with Srila Bhakti Rakshaka Sridhar Maharaj, like a couple of months before, after the Gaur Purnima festival of 1970, what was it? 1978. And they went and they approached Srila Sridhar Maharaj. And what they stated to him was that we have come here by the order of our spiritual master to come and hear from your very divine grace and to receive any guidance and any advice that you can give to us. That's how they introduced, the small group of GBC members came there. So then they showed the entire transcription of the conversation that they just had with Srila Sridhar Maharaj, which was about 12 pages long. And that was the first time that I had actually read, or you could even say heard, the katha of Srila Bhakti Rakshaka Sridhar Maharaj. What did that do for me? It convinced me, okay, now I understand why Prabhupada said this person's name. It was clear to me, very clear. Nobody can speak like that. Nobody can answer questions like that. Nobody can give such philosophical, perfect guidance. In the book Sri Guru and His Grace, there's one chapter in there where they directly state that this was the conversation they were having with Bhakti Rakshaka Sridhar Maharaj. So now it's 1979, I've come back to India, and I stayed in India that whole year, in Mayapur. So during my visit there, I ran into my godbrother Subhag, brahmachari at the time. Now he's sannyasi, GBC, guru, everything. And he's Bengali, but he joined the movement in London, England, when he was over there. So I asked him the question. We were walking on the rooftop of the long building, just chanting, like 5 in the evening, you know, similar to like this kind of sky. And then I asked him the question, I said, Subhag Prabhu, have you ever met Prabhupada's godbrother, Bhakti Rakshaka Sridhar Goswami Maharaj? And he said, yes, I have. I said, you have? Where is he? Where is he? He says, he's just on the other side of the Ganga. He has his own mutt there in Navadvip, Chaitanya Saraswat mutt. I go there sometimes and I visit with him and I hear katha from him. I said, you do? I want to go. He says, okay, I'll take you tomorrow. We'll go in the evening time, but don't tell anyone that we're going to visit him. I said, why? Why should I not tell anyone? This is the very person that Srila Prabhupada told to go to for guidance, and I should hide that? He says, yeah, the GBC members, recently they made some rule that only the GBC members should go to see him. And when I heard that, it was like an explosion in my mind and heart. I will never follow any instruction coming from such persons who would dare to restrict senior disciples. I was a very senior disciple at that time, for that time period, 10-year brahmachari, so how they can restrict. So anyway, I told to Subhag, I'll never follow that, let's go. So the next day we went. We crossed the Ganga and we bought a couple of dabs, coconuts, and then we came to the mutt. And so this is the first time I'm going to see with my own eyes and hear with my own ears a pure devotee of Krishna directly proclaimed to be such by Srila Prabhupada on his level. So one devotee greeted us at the gate. He brought us up the stairs, and it was the summertime, and it was very hot, and also the electricity had gone off. But there was moonlight, and they had a kerosene lantern, and Srila Bhakti Rakshaka Sridhar Maharaj was lying on a bed at the top of the stairs. He was lying on a bed at the top of the stairs. And he was just lying on his back with his kurta off, and a disciple was fanning him in the evening air. And so we came, and the bed was just there at the top of the stairs, and so we both paid our dandavat pranams, obeisances. We paid our obeisances. And then I sat right next, like say this is the bed, and we paid actually this would be the bed, and his head was here, and I paid obeisances, and I sat right there, this far away from his lotus mouth. And then Subhag stood here and spoke to him for a minute in Bengali, telling that he's brought a god brother who's from America, Prabhupada disciple, and he's seeing you for the first time. So then he's just lying there, and I'm sitting like right next to him, and he began to speak. Nectar pouring out of his lotus mouth. Very sweet, sweet nectar. I don't remember exactly what he was saying, but I remember that he was talking about Krishna's holy names. And there's one shloka, Tunde Tandavani Ratam Vitanute Tundavali Labdai, written by Srila Rupa Goswami, where I think he was quoting that shloka, because he was saying, I don't know how much nectar there are in the two syllables, Krishna. So I'm listening to this, and it was so sweet. I'd never had such an experience up to that point. And he didn't speak long, 10, 12 minutes. Then he excused us and told us that we should go downstairs and have a little bit of prasadam and then make our way back to Mayapur. And then he said, but come on another day in the morning time when I'm fresh. So we did that. We came on another day, maybe 2 days after. And we sat with Srila Bhakti Rakshaka Sridhara Maharaj, who was sitting in his chair. You see the same chair in the same spot there at the mutt. He was sitting in his chair, and he was speaking with us for like an hour and a half. I think I asked some philosophical question about Paramatma, but he gave his usual full, complete dissertation on the topic, straight to the point. And so that was amazing. And then one other day, I also came. With a devotee who had come from America. I decided to bring him over there because he also wanted to meet Bhakti Rakshaka Sridhara Maharaj, a Prabhupada disciple. And so the two of us sat in front of Srila Sridhara Maharaj again for like an hour. And at the end of that hour, Srila Sridhara Maharaj was closing the darshan. And he said to us, he said, you know, I was sitting with your Guru Maharaj, Bhaktivedanta Swami Maharaj. I was sitting with him as a godbrother. And I was telling to him recently, in the last couple of years, how I was lamenting that I was not able to go to England and preach, because my Guru Maharaj, Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati, actually had a desire that I should go. But it did not happen. So I told to Srila Swami Maharaj that I was feeling so much, like lamentation in my heart that I could not go. And then he told me, he said, that is all right that you could not go. I will travel all over the world as I'm doing, and I bring all my disciples to you. You train them up to go back to Godhead. This is what Prabhupada told to him. And then he said, he looked at us, and we're sitting this as close as this tripod to him, at his lotus feet. And he leans forward and he says, so why they have made this rule that you should not come to me? Because he'd already heard that they'd made some restriction on which devotees can come to Srila Sridhara Maharaj. And he said that with a pained look in his face. Why they have made this? That you cannot come to me. And I said, oh Maharaj, I don't agree at all with their rule. And I know that many devotees will also not agree, and they will still come. So that's my experience. at that time with my direct association with Bhakti Rakshaka Sridhara Maharaj. And then I didn't see him again until 1985 when I went to India. But there's a whole long story about what happened in between and how, usually I tell it in more details, but our time is gone. But I'm going to continue. The Zoom call has a limit, but I have a different limit from our hostess for this discussion. Yes, so at that time, in 1979, then many things started heating up in the ISKCON movement at that time. That means that there are new gurus coming, and there was so much discord and so much feelings of dissatisfaction in the hearts of many, many Prabhupada disciples. Because the new 11 gurus who said that they were appointed by Prabhupada, but they never were appointed by him, they said it at that time. And they pushed it for a few years in a row. They pushed it. So the thing is that more and more devotees were going to Srila Bhakti Rakshaka Sridhar Maharaj, and especially in 1980-81. The ISKCON GBC members were going to him regularly. We have all of the recordings, all of the, transcriptions also of the recordings of all the conversations that they had with him at that time. And those conversations played a very important role in my development of my relationship with him and my faith in him. Because I listened to 40 of these recordings, 90 minutes each, from that time period. Questions being asked and how he answered them. And I was just overwhelmed. I received these I was in England, London, England at the time, and I received these tapes, these recordings. So gradually, and I'm skipping a lot of parts here, I already understood that the decision that the GBC members had made, the very fateful, unfortunate, inauspicious decision to ban Srila Bhakti Rakshaka Sridhar Maharaj, to ban him on their GBC, resolution, that was the most inauspicious thing that could possibly happen. And a number of them began falling down after that, naturally. But I was present in 1982 in Detroit, in America, when 4 sannyasis flew in from Mayapur, and that was when they were trying to make the decision, because one of the GBC members, Jayatirtha, they were trying to ban him because of his relationship with Srila Bhakti Rakshaka Sridhar Maharaj. He accepted as his Siksha Guru. So I was there when they came and they were starting to tell so many things. But they held off until the decision was made. Then Jayatirtha actually left. And when he left, many of his disciples also left. And that Detroit temple was one of his zones. And that's why they flew in, 4 of them, to hold the fortress down, But then they began to blaspheme Srila Sridhar Maharaj. And I just told you the story of how I met him and everything about that. But they began to blaspheme him. And they began to say so many false things about him. And then Srila Sridhar Maharaj decided that he wanted to answer, because what the GBC did, they commissioned Satsvarup Maharaj, who was like the writer of Prabhupada's biography at that time, and he was a talented writer. So they commissioned him to write a long, like 10 or 12 page statement of the GBC members against Srila Sridhar Maharaj, stating all falsities and falsities. So I did hear a recording of Srila Sridhar Maharaj saying, "Read what they say about me." This is after they've already banned him. and he took each and every statement and he completely ripped it apart, every statement, and turned it around to show that the very fact that they were stating that is that they are at fault. So one by one, by one, by one, by one, he went through the whole thing and completely decimated them. And then he said, simply mud-slinging. That's his exact words. Mud-slinging, that's all. And he also told them, they're afraid to come to me and speak. You see? Big gurus, but they're afraid to come and speak with me. So now this began the next era. And somehow or other, I continued. I was in household life at that time, and I continued staying within the ISKCON institution. But that only lasted another about 2 years, until 1984. And during that 2 years, I went to Africa. I was an ISKCON temple president there in Nairobi. So I was doing responsible service. And then I came back to England, and then I was there. And at that time, this banning was institutionalized, that anyone who goes to the temple of Srila Bhakti Rakshaka Sridhara Maharaj in the south of London, they'll be banned. They can no longer be in the society. So I went there, and I had some very nice discussions. That's where I got the 40 cassette tapes, and I listened to them day and night for the next 2-3 weeks as I was doing my work. And I became so overwhelmed, and there was just no way that I could any longer go on. So it was discovered, I was speaking with some God brothers, and it was discovered that my initiated name at that time was Urukrama Das. And it was discovered that he is speaking in a favorable way about Bhakti Rakshaka Sridhara Maharaj. So then it was reported to the GBC, the big GBC guru, who was named Bhagavan Das. He was a sannyasi at the time. And he just happened to be the person who started the temple in Detroit that I joined in 1970 when I was 18 years old. And I had a lot of love and affection for him. But now he had gone off the rails. And I knew that. And he knew that I knew that. And so I was summoned to drive down to London and to report to him. And so in this way, I came into the quarters, Srila Prabhupada's quarters, in the Bhaktivedanta manner. And then he confronted me. I came in, I paid obeisances. There was another sannyasi there, Dristadumna. And now he started to ask me questions. He said, so Urukram, what's your program now? And I said, well, my program has actually changed because I was going to go back to America, but now I've changed my mind and I'm going to India, to Navadvip Dham, to visit with Prabhupada's godbrother Bhakti Rakshaka Sridhara Maharaj. And he stared at me without speaking for about 30 seconds. And then they made some little effort to say, you know, this is not bona fide, this, that. And they could see I wasn't buying one single syllable of what they were saying. So within just a few minutes, Bhagavan got up and started pacing back and forth in the room. Then he started saying, you know, Urukram, I'm really disappointed in you. Because I thought that you were going to come back here after all these years in my zone. And we were going to have this long-term preaching relationship together. But now you know what this means. What you're doing means that you can't come to any of our temples anymore. You can't visit, you can't talk to any of our devotees here in England. And you can't talk to any of our life members. And you can't talk to any of our folk members that used to be called friends of Lord Krishna, like new people. So I'm sitting there listening to him, and he's proclaiming this, what do you call it, expulsion. And then he starts walking back and forth in the room again, and then he says, and we also want you to leave the country. So then, as he's walking, then he says, you know, I don't understand what you people see in him. What do you people see in him? This Bhakti Rakshaka Sridhara Maharaj. I mean, after all, what has he done? What has he done in comparison with what I've done? He dared to compare himself to Bhakti Rakshaka Sridhara Maharaj. He was gone in 1 year. Fell down miserably after that. Of course, he's my friend and my godbrother, and I have love and affection for him still. And now he's come back, and by the mercy of Srila Bhaktivedanta Narayan Goswami Maharaj, all of his children from his first marriage have been initiated by him, and for many years he has been in connection. So, and I spoke with him a couple of, 3 years ago, and he asked me, he still would call me Urukram, even though I'm a sannyasi. So he said, hey, do you ever meet any of our sannyasis, Indradyumna Swami or any of the others, you know? And I looked at him. We were sitting next to each other in a chair, in a circle, with some other seniors. And I said, Bhagavan, don't you remember? In 1984? What? You kicked me out of the society in 1984. Don't you remember? I says, and he said, oh. Yeah, sorry for that. So I accepted his apology. So this is my main reason for telling all this, is that a great aparad has been committed. And I'll tell you that from what I heard, I didn't read it with my own eyes, but I think it was around, when was it? In the late 80s, I think. In the late 80s, they rethought what they had done, and they actually made a resolution that actually Srila Sridhara Maharaj was not at fault, because they were blaming him for the zonal guru system that was a complete absolute failure. They were blaming him. But after they had done their research, they found out he had nothing to do with that, because he was never supporting it, actually. He was never supporting it. Anyway, that's a whole long story. So, Srila Sridhara Maharaj stayed on the planet. You know, Srila Prabhupada and him had this deep relationship. We can't even imagine. You know, before Srila Prabhupada left his Grihastha ashram life, his final effort in his business life was in Calcutta. He bought 2 houses, side by side, 2-story houses. And in one house his family, wife and children, lived, and in the other house on the ground level, his pharmaceutical shop. And then in the top floor, he reserved that for visiting sadhus. And you know, Srila Bhakti Rakshaka Sridhara Maharaj at that time, he used to visit very often. He used to come there and visit very often. So they used to discuss together. We have some of the dialogue. I could read some of it, but you know, Srila Prabhupada and Srila Sridhara Maharaj were very intimate friends. And Prabhupada actually told that Krishna liked him to prepare me. And I even accept Bhakti Rakshaka Sridhara Maharaj as my Siksha Guru. So what to speak of any others? I accept him as my Siksha Guru, you know. So many stories to tell, how Srila Sridhar Maharaj, he kept a picture of him on his altar there after he had taken sannyas, kept a picture of him on his altar in Radha Damodar temple. And this is in the book called Our Srila Prabhupada, A Friend to All, by Gopravinda Paul's wife, what was it? Mula Prakriti. And she had done research and she had interviewed. And there was one of the Brijbasis from that family that operates that temple. And that person was interviewed by her. And he says, oh yes, your Prabhupada, Bhaktivedanta Swami Maharaj, I was always seeing him and watching how he was doing his sadhana, his bhajan, everything. And one day I saw that on his tiny little, whatever altar he had in there, he had a picture that I didn't recognize. And I asked him, who is that? And he said, oh, that's my godbrother, my Siksha Guru, Bhakti Rakshaka Sridhara Maharaj. That's how Prabhupada, you know. So, Srila Sridhar Maharaj, he stayed on the planet. He didn't think he was going to. He thought he was going to leave before Srila Prabhupada left, because Prabhupada visited him, I think the final time, and there's a photo of the two of them standing together, you know, on the rooftop of Chaitanya Saraswat Mutt. And, Srila Sridhar Maharaj looked thin and gaunt. And at that time, he was not well at all. And our Srila Prabhupada, although it was the same year, early in the year, our Srila Prabhupada was going to also leave, but he didn't know it at the time. And so, Srila Prabhupada, at that time, there was a whole conversation where Prabhupada told to him, please come and live in Mayapur. I want that you should come and live there. Jai Pataka is building a house for me, and you can live there in the house. He will install a lift, electronic lift, so that you will not have to go anywhere of your own, energy. Oh Maharaj, just give me the word and I'll make all the arrangements. People are coming from all over the world. Then Srila Sridhar Maharaj replied, he said, yes, that is true. Many, many different educated people. Yes, and so you should stay there in Mayapur. But actually, when Srila Sridhar Maharaj was asked later on, after Prabhupada departed, why didn't you accept his invitation? And Srila Sridhar Maharaj said, first of all, I didn't want to infringe on his, paramount position as the Acharya. But also, I didn't think that I thought that I would leave my body before him. But then Krishna kept him in the world for 11 more years. 11 more years. And do you know how many hours of recorded Harikatha there was? 1,200 hours. 1,200 hours of recorded Harikatha of Srila Bhakti Rakshaka Sridhar Maharaj. That's where all these books are made from his recorded Harikatha. He didn't write any of these books. There is one book, Prapanna Jivanamrita, that he wrote. But these are all the books, Sri Guru and His Grace, Search for Sri Krishna, Loving Search for the Lost Servant, and about 10 or 15 other books. They're all made from his darshans. And the way he speaks, this is the astonishing thing about Srila Sridhar Maharaj. Those who did the English editing for his books, they didn't have to edit very much because his English was so perfect. His ability to convey different points, philosophical points, was so incredible. And you can just see for yourself. Anybody that just takes this book, Sri Guru and His Grace, and goes through this book from beginning to end will say, oh my God, what incredible Guru Tattva information, knowledge, realization, everything in this book. Madhukar knows, because he told a few devotees in ISKCON, younger devotees, to read this book. And they were completely blown away after reading it. So these are the legacy of Srila Bhakti Rakshaka Sridhar Maharaj. That legacy will never go away. It's there to stay. Just like our Srila Gurudev, Bhaktivedanta Narayan Maharaj, his legacy will never go away. All of the tapes, all of the videos, even if in the future, there's no more internet or this or that, but the books are there. The books are there. So, Srila Bhakti Rakshaka Sridhar Maharaj was the greatest scholar. He was considered to be the Siddhanta Acharya of the Gaudiya Math after Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur left the world. For the next 50 years, Srila Sridhar Maharaj was still on the planet, and all the different Gaudiya Maths would come to him. And he was also connected with Bhakti Pragyan Keshav Goswami Maharaj, all the different Bhakti Pramod Puri Maharaj, all the great Bhakti Dvaita Madhav Maharaj, all of these godbrothers. He was intimately connected with all of them. And they all accepted him as such a extraordinary personality. There's another story, by the way, that Srila Sridhar Maharaj was asked in the final hours of Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati, either the day before or the next day, when all the disciples were in his room, just before he departed from this world. Srila Sridhar Maharaj, Srila Prabhupada, Bhakti Siddhanta Prabhupada wanted him to sing the song Sri Rupa Manjari Pada. Sri Rupa Manjari Pada. He wanted him to sing the song. And actually, Srila Sridhar Maharaj was not one of the usual kirtan leaders. Actually, like Bhakti Pramod Puri Maharaj, he was still a brahmachari then. And he was one of the main kirtan singers. But Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati wanted to hear Srila Bhakti Rakshaka Sridhar Maharaj to sing that song. So he did begin to sing. I've also heard his own explanation of that, and I've heard others' explanation of it. But he was a little bit hesitating, because he wasn't usually leading kirtans. And then, what was his name? Kunja Bihari, the secretary of Srila Prabhupada, kind of stopped Srila Sridhar Maharaj from singing and requested this other brahmachari, who was actually Bhakti Pramod Puri Maharaj, to sing. And he began to sing, and then Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati stopped it. He said, I do not want to hear the melodious voice, I want to hear Sridhar Maharaj. And in that room was a very powerful, mystical atmosphere. All the devotees felt it in that room. And they all conveyed this after that darshan, that they felt like as if by Srila Sridhar Maharaj singing Sri Rupa Manjari Pada, that Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur was giving him admittance into the kunja, into the nikunja of Sri Rupa Manjari. So Srila Sridhar Maharaj heard that they were saying like that. And he says, no, I cannot consider that I am being given admittance, but at least I'm being posted on the outside to guard. And that's his name, Bhakti Rakshaka, the protector of the pathway of bhakti. So, Srila Bhakti Rakshaka Sridhar Maharaj, he has so much extraordinary Harikatha. If you read Sri Guru and His Grace, how many of you have ever read this book, Sri Guru and His Grace, either in English or in your own language? Yeah, there you go, about half the devotees. How many of you have read this book, Lord's Loving Search for His Lost Servant? Okay. How many of you have read all of his books? Okay. Yeah, so this book, I love each and every book, but these three books especially I love. Then there's also the Golden Volcano of Divine Love. And, these books are emblazoned in my heart. So there was a whole long period in my spiritual life of struggling and household life. And Srila Sridhar Maharaj was He was my savior, you know. So when I did get expelled from the society in 1984, then the next Gaur Purnima, 85, I flew to Navadvip and spent 6 weeks with Srila Sridhar Maharaj. 6 weeks. And that was amazing. That was when he was already banned, you know. And that was incredible to be there with him during that time. He didn't speak that much because he wasn't so well, but we got a lot. Just by knowing that he's there in that room, even from downstairs, that we would feel the transcendental rays coming from there, you know. Very powerful. So Srila Sridhar Maharaj, he has particular topics, especially Sharanagati, because he wrote the book, Prapanna Jivanamritam. And the book is his thesis of presenting the whole science of Sharanagati. And that book was written by him. And he wrote various Sanskrit shlokas and so forth. Not only that, but Srila Bhakti Rakshaka Sridhar Maharaj, he was the incredible poet. Incredible Sanskrit poet. His poetry. He has 72 shlokas telling the whole pastimes of Mahaprabhu's life. You know? What's it called again? Premadama Deva Stotram. 72 shlokas. Each and every sloka perfectly composed, using Srila Rupa Goswami's particular, the rhythm of that poetry. And Srila Sridhar Maharaj wrote many, many different ashtakams for glorifying Srila Gaur Kishore Das Babaji Maharaj, Bhakti Vinod Thakur, Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, and also Nityananda Prabhu. And so, you know, the poetry of Srila Sridhar Maharaj is astonishing, actually. You have to read it for yourself. If you're a little bit familiar with Sanskrit shlokas and so forth, when you read his poetry, you see it's just incredible. So he had a godbrother who was named Akinchana Krishnadas Babaji Maharaj. And anyone who knows who he is, they know that he would practically 24 hours a day, he would be chanting. And of those 24 hours of chanting, he would be doing about 8 hours of kirtan. Even if he was just alone, he would have his mridanga and he would be singing kirtan. We have recordings of his incredible voice. So he was like the kirtan acharya at that time of the Gaudiya Math, no question about it. So, you know, he used to go to the birthplace of Srila Bhakti Rakshaka Sridhar Maharaj, not far from Navadvip, Hapaniya, the village called Hapaniya, Gram. And he used to circumambulate Srila Sridhar Maharaj's birthplace and sing different shlokas from the writings of Srila Sridhar Maharaj. And Srila Sridhar Maharaj heard about this. So one day he said, Babaji Maharaj, what are you doing? What are you doing going to my birthplace? And I'm hearing this from others. And then Babaji Maharaj told him, he said, I'm doing that because I consider your shlokas to be on the same level as Srila Rupa Goswami. And therefore, I'm going there to take the dust from your birthplace on my head. So that personality, all of the God brothers knew him. He had no boundaries. He would go from one Gaudiya Math to another. So Srila Sridhar Maharaj, Akinchana Krishnadas Babaji Maharaj, he was intimately connected with many different God brothers for many, many years. So in this way, Srila Sridhar Maharaj, he produced all these incredible books that now have his Harikatha in them for all future generations. So I looked through the books, read a few chapters, especially of this book because I hadn't read it for quite a long time. And there's so much nectar. But I've selected this one particular final chapter of this book. It's not very long, and I'm going to read it to all of you. Would you like to hear this chapter? Yes. This is entitled The Service of Sri Radha. What's the title? The Service of Sri Radha. Yes. So, now Srila Sridhar Maharaj begins by talking about like a king from one of the districts in India who, when they were visiting Radha-kunda with Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati, maybe it was 1934 or 30, something like that, when he did that parikrama. And there was this diwan, they were called diwans of Bharatpur. So this diwan had come to Radha-kund. They had come on a pilgrimage with his whole family to the holiest of all places, Sri Radha-kunda, the holy lake of Srimati Radharani. I need some light. Is there any lamp that can be brought, or? Yeah, I mean, I have a flashlight also here, but it's much better to have a lamp. Okay. So, that Diwan came there to Radha-kund with his whole family, and they were circumambulating. All the family members were circumambulating Radha-kunda. What kind of circumambulation? On their feet? No. The whole family was doing Dandavat Parikrama. You all know what that is, so I don't have to explain it. He's telling here. And every time they would fall flat on the ground offering obeisances, lying down with their arms outstretched. And then every time that they bowed down in this way, they would mark the spot with their fingertips touching the earth. Then they would slowly rise, step forward to where that spot had been marked, and again fall flat, offering their obeisances with great respect and adoration. We see this non-stop continually here in Braj, especially on the Parikrama path and many other places. People doing Dandavat Parikramas. So, in fact, even Tridandi Maharaj told me that he did the Dandavat Parikrama of Govardhana. When I first met him in 1994 on the first Brajamandal Parikrama, we were sitting on the bus, and he was introducing himself to me, and he said, yeah, I did the Dandavat Parikrama of Govardhana. And he told me it took many weeks, and how he did so many hours a day, put on his gamsha and did the whole thing. So then, in this way, they were circumambulating the entire Radha-kunda. And upon seeing such intense worship, Paramananda Prabhu, who is an intimate disciple of our Guru Maharaj Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, he intimated to Prabhupada that the Diwan and his family, they must have very great respect for Radharani. Huh? To circumambulate Radha-kund in such a fashion, they must have so much respect for Radharani. So at that time, Prabhupada, Bhaktisiddhanta said, their angle of vision toward Radha-kunda and Radharani is different from ours. It's different. They have a different angle of vision. So, they recognize, what is their vision? They recognize Krishna. And they revere Krishna. And because Radharani is Krishna's favorite, so they also have some reverence for Radha-kunda, because she is his favorite. But our vision is just the opposite. The opposite of that. Very important to know this fact. What is our vision? Our concern is with Radharani. That's where our concern is with. Radharani, and only because she wants Krishna, and only because of that, we have any connection with him. Any connection with that dark-colored boy. Only because of that. So, now Srila Sridhar Maharaj explains. The Gaudiya Vaishnavas, they only know Radharani. They only know Radharani. They are concerned only with her. Only with her they're concerned. And her duties and her necessities. They're concerned with her. They are ready to serve her in all respects. And they cannot contemplate any service without her. That is the highest achievement of the Gaudiya Vaishnavas. That is the special feature of Mahaprabhu's party. And that was announced by Raghunath Das Goswami in his Vilap Kushumanjali. Now here's the shloka of Raghunath Das Goswami. It's practically the last shloka, 102. I think there's 104 shlokas. So this verse is the ultimate classic statement by Raghunath Das Goswami, who is what? He's our Prayojan Tattva Acharya. Our Prayojan Tattva Acharya. That's Raghunath Das Goswami. Here he is making his statement after praying to Srimati Radharani for 102 verses and desperately weeping and praying and crying and requesting that she allows him in his eternal gopi form as Rati Manjari to serve her lotus feet. So here's his last desperation statement. Asha barairamrita sindhumayai katanchit kalo mayati gamita kila sampratam hi tvam chet kripam mai vidasyasi naiva kim me pranairvrajena chavaroru bakarinapi. So this verse is a direct prayer to Radharani. It expresses a particular type of hope, asha. Asha barair. Asha means hope. So he is expressing a particular type of hope which is so sweet and reassuring that hope is compared with an unlimited ocean of nectar. Amrita Sindhu. And what is he saying? He says, there is a hope which is sustaining me and which is nurturing my existence. With that hope, I am somehow passing my days. I am dragging my life through these tedious times, and that nectarine ocean of hope is attracting me and keeping me alive. But my patience has reached its end. I can't endure it any longer. I can't wait anymore. At this moment, if you do not show your grace to me, I am finished. I shall lose my prospect forever. I shall have no desire to continue my life. It will all be useless, and without your grace, I can't stand to live another moment. And Vrindavan, what about Vrindavan? Vrindavan is more dear to me than my life itself. But I am disgusted with it. Imagine. He says, I am even, and then he says, I am disgusted. It is painful. It is always pinching me. And what to speak of anything else? I am even disgusted with Krishna. It is shameful to utter such words. Shameful. But I can have no love even for Krishna unless and until you take me within your confidential camp of service. This is the prayer of Raghunath Das. So, when Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Prabhupada, when he would begin to explain this verse, Srila Sridhar Maharaj witnessed this. When he would begin to explain this verse, his figure would become transformed. He would become full of emotion. His face would become like that of a phantom. They probably don't know what a phantom is. Like a walking dead person, practically. Phantom. So in this verse, Raghunath Das Goswami, taking an extreme risk, he says, O Radha, if I do not get your favor, I don't want anything. I want you and I want you alone. And to have an independent relationship with anyone else, eliminating you, is impossible in my life. You must be first, and then others. You must be first, and then others. Without you, we can never even think of a separate relationship with Krishna. So, now Srila Sridhar Maharaj says, Bhaktivedanta Swami Maharaj has written that without Radharani's company, Krishna is not beautiful. Prabhupada, he wrote that. Without Radharani's company, Krishna is not beautiful. So, everything is relative. Everything is dependent. A teacher depends on the student, and the student depends on his teacher. And although Krishna is the enjoyer, he is completely dependent on the enjoyed, Srimati Radharani. The two are correlative. One cannot be separated from the other. As the enjoyed, Radharani is also absolutely dependent on Krishna, who is the enjoyer. So Radharani, she says the following. What does Radha say? How does Radharani express herself? She says, my fate is lost forever. You'll recognize this pastime, because our Gurudev also quoted this. She's saying, my fate is lost forever because I have given myself, I have sold myself to so many places. And when I have heard the flute, I dedicated myself to the song of the flute. And when I heard the name of Krishna, I dedicated myself to that sound. And when I saw a beautiful picture of Krishna, I wholly dedicated myself to that picture. So in 3 places, I have sold myself completely, with no possibility of any happiness or peace in my life. If I had dedicated myself to only one thing, then there might have been a possibility of peace. But because I have dedicated myself in 3 different places, I am hopeless. You recognize this pastime? So, now she says, seeing the picture of Krishna, I couldn't contain myself. And I couldn't but give myself to that beautiful figure. And so I dedicated myself fully. The name of Krishna also purchased me fully. and the sweet sound from the flute that has also drawn me to the extreme of dedication. So how can I hope for peace in my life? It is impossible. My friends, it is impossible. So then, her friends informed her. Radharani did not know at that time, but the source of Krishna's flute, his name and his beauty, they're all one and the same. If she could have seen how all three of these meet together, then it would have been possible for her to have peace of mind, but it is difficult to understand this principle. What time is it now?
5 more minutes.
What time is it?
35 minutes now.
What time is it?
6:35.
25 to 7.
35.
Okay. Okay, yeah, okay. All right. So I'm just reading a few more lines and then I'll wind it up. So how is it that the sound of Krishna's flute, the sound of his name, and a picture of his form, how is it that they are non-different from Krishna himself? Then Srila Sridhara Maharaj quotes the German philosopher Hegel. Hegel has an aspect of his philosophy called idealism. So in his words, ideal realism. The absolute idea is not to be dismissed as an abstract thing. Rather, it is the basis of all existence. Reality is there, but it is ideal realism. And the foundation of the reality of Vrindavan is given by Nityananda. The foundation of the reality of Vrindavan is given by Nityananda Baladev. Nitayer karuna habe braje radha Krishna pabe daro nitai charana dukani. So after Bhaktivinoda Thakur describes the position of Radharani in his Sharanagati, then he says, I want to serve those who have the service of Radharani in their heart. I want to serve the feet dust of those whose only wealth is the service of Sri Radha. Bhaktivinoda Thakur is telling this. I want to fall before them and take the dust of their holy feet. If you cannot fix your mind in the service of Radharani, then all your attempts to serve Krishna are useless. If you cannot achieve earnestness in the service of Srimati Radharani, then all your labor for Krishna has gone to hell. This is Bhaktivinoda Thakur. We cannot conceive of a sun without heat, nor can we conceive of Godhead without his potency. So also, no conception of Krishna is possible without Srimati Radharani. We cannot know any Madhava without Radha. Who is Radha? She is Krishna's other half. His other half. In Srila Bhaktisiddhanta's language, the predominated moiety. So, devotional service as a whole, it is represented by her, because both the intensity and the comprehensiveness of her service to Krishna are unparalleled. There are so many examples of chaste and pious ladies in the ancient history of the Puranas. Sachi, the faithful wife of Indra, Sati, the wife of Lord Shiva, Lakshmi Devi, the goddess of fortune, Satyabhama, Krishna's wife in Dwarka, Rukmini, the principal queen of Krishna in Dwarka, and even the antagonists of Radharani, headed by Chandravali. All of them represent different aspects of Radharani. They all spring from the main potency which is known as Radha. And the name Radha comes from the word Aradhana. One who can serve, who can worship, who can give respect, who really loves Krishna, who can render loving service. All of these other ladies who are famous for their chastity and piety are but partial representations of Radharani. If we note the scriptures and we scrutinize the position of those virtuous ladies, we'll find that the source of all their chastity and devotion is Srimati Radharani. She is the fountainhead of devotion. And so Bhaktivinoda says, I bow down and take the dust of the holy feet of those who have as their only wealth the service of Radharani. I hanker after nothing else. Whoever knows this and always travels on that path with a sincere heart is most fortunate. So, so, of course, I cannot read all of this, but I want to read the last statement. Bhaktivinoda Thakur prays to gain admission there, in the camp of Srimati Radharani, where Krishna and Radha are enjoying very solitary pastimes in a secluded place. The grown-up Sakhis, they can venture to enter the room and they can assist them. They can't venture to enter the room and assist them. But the young girls, the manjaris, are sent there. The leader of that young group can enter, where both Radha and Govinda are very closely connected, when even the Sakhis do not venture to go for fear of causing some interruption. But Rupa and the manjaris can enter there at that time due to their young age. And that sort of rasa that cannot be had even through the Sakhis, it can be had only through the manjaris. So Bhaktivinoda Thakur prays to gain admission there. He has such a high quality of aspiration. He says, Rupa Nuga Hoite Se Doi. He runs to be enlisted in the group of Rupa who can grant us that sort of prospect. And Prabodhananda Saraswati has described the prerequisite for understanding all these things. And what is that? Yata yata gora padara vinde vindeta bhaktim krita punya rashi tata tatot sarpati hridya kasmad radha padamboja sudambu rasi. As much as you surrender to the lotus feet of Sri Gauranga, you'll find yourself safely situated in the service of Radha Govinda. Don't try to approach Radha Govinda directly. If you do, there may be some difficulty, but the lotus feet of Sri Gauranga will take you there safely. So in my Sanskrit poem, this is the last part, this is the end I'm reading. In my Sanskrit poem dedicated to Bhaktivinoda Thakur, I've explained all these points. Shri Gauranutamam Swarupa Viditam Rupa Gajendranditam Rupa Jai Pariveshitam Raghuganair Asvaditam Sevitam Jivadyair Abhirakshitam Shukashiva Brahmadi Sammanitam Shri Radha Padasevanamrita Madho Taddatumich Isho Bhavan. This is the last. What was sanctioned by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu? Thing that was sanctioned by Mahaprabhu, by his descent, it was intimately known only to Swarup Damodar Goswami. It was adored by Sanatana Goswami. It was served by Rupa Goswami and his followers. Raghunath Das Goswami tasted that wonderful thing fully, and he enhanced it with his own realization. And Jiva Goswami supported and protected it by quoting the scriptures from different places. So the taste of that divine truth is aspired for by Brahma, by Lord Shiva, and Uddhava, who respect it as the supreme goal of life. So what is this wonderful truth? Sri Radha Padasevana, that the highest nectar of our life is the service of Srimati Radharani. This is most wonderful. O Bhaktivinoda Thakur, you are our master. It is within your power to allow them to bestow their grace upon us. You are in a position to bestow the highest gift ever known to the world upon us all. It is at your disposal, O Bhaktivinoda Thakur. Please be kind to us and grant us your mercy. So, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, our most benevolent Lord, has come to search for his lost servants and to give them this highest ideal of divine love. Gaur Premanande, Gaur Premanande, Nitai Gaur Premanande. Srila Bhakti Rakshaka Sridhara Goswami Maharaj ki jai. Tadiya Avirbhav Maha Mahotsav Titi Srila Bhakti Rakshaka Sridhar Goswami Maharaj ki jai. All glories to the assembled devotees. Loudly, all glory to the assembled devotees. My Dandavat Pranam devotees, we have our time limit. We have to exit quite quickly. Oh yes.
It's still going on, Srila Gurudev.
Oh, the Zoom is still going on.
What? He wants to thank you. Yeah. You pulled the mic. Yes, I pulled it. We can hear now.
Which?
No, we're hearing now.
Uh-huh.
Dandavat Maharaj, can you hear us?
Turn it louder.
It is loud.
Dandavat Maharaj, can you hear me?
Yes, now I can hear you.
Thank you. That was absolutely beautiful. I was in so much of awe that I couldn't stop at all. I just want to say that listening to you, I just felt so much of pain when you were telling the whole pastimes of Shri Bhakti Rakshaka Maharaj and all, all those pastimes. It was just so beautiful and, so amazing that there's 1,200 hours of recorded Harikatha. Absolutely beautiful. I think you summed it very nicely when you said that his legacy will never go away, never go away. And then, of course, you summed it up so nicely by ending with that last chapter and ending with Srimati Radharani, who's the fountainhead of devotion. So thank you so much, Maharaj. We really appreciate it. Absolutely beautiful Harikatha. Thank you for your time. We've come to the end of our Zoom program. We had to change the program a little bit, cut things short, but tomorrow we'll be back at the same time. Tomorrow we have Sripad Vaikanas Maharaj, Sudhavati Beta Maharaj, and Tridani Maharaj who will take us to Batrol, Akrurgat, Bandirvan, Mansarova, Bamshibat, quite a few places tomorrow, so there's a lot to do. So I just want to say thank you to Maharaj, thank you so much. And I think we will end now with Kirtan by Taruni Didi.
Did Sridhara Maharaj want to say something before he disappears?
Sorry, Maharaj, yes.
Thank Bhaktivedanta Padmanabha Maharaj so much for his Harikatha. I was fully expecting such a bucket of mercy from him. But there's one thing he omitted to tell us about Srila Bhakti Rakshaka Sridhar Maharaj dancing.
Ah.
I was waiting for this pastime when you would tell us about his dance.
Oh, on Gaur Purnima Day.
Yes, you saw him dancing.
Yes. He came downstairs and he was not well, but he came down on Gaur Purnima Day 1985 into the temple room, stood there with his arms like resting on shoulders of, and then his disciple who became Bhakti Sundar Govinda Maharaj began to sing those slokas that we always sing on Gaur Purnima evening, of Mahaprabhu's appearance, from Chaitanya Charitamrita. And he had his head kind of bowed like this, and he was listening very intently. And all the devotees, a few hundreds of devotees were surrounding him. And when it came to the final part, the last statement, you remember what the last statement is or not? No, okay. Anyway, when it came to the final end, Srila Sridhar Maharaj's arms went up in the air like this. And he just began to wave back and forth like this and holding up his arms. And all the devotees went completely wild with Nitai Gaur, Haribol, 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 Haribol. And then his arms went down and then they walked him back upstairs. So that's emblazoned. Remember, thank you for reminding me of that, Maharaj.
Beautiful Maharaj. Thank you. Totally wonderful Maharaj.
That's because we're talking about wonderful personalities by a very non-wonderful person. Okay. Haribol.
Thank you, Maharaj.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Great.
Thank you, Maharaj. So, Taruni Didi, are you online? Are you able to unmute?
She should be able to.
Krishna.
Yeah, I think I've unmuted.
Can you hear okay?
Thank you, Didi. Go ahead.
Oops.
Is the sound okay?
Is okay?
Yes,
We
it's
were
okay.
going, actually, I'm really happy Maharaj told that beautiful story because we were going to sing Shri Rup Manjari Para, which in this book is page 50. I don't know if the video's
I
working.
can't see your
properly.
screen.
Okay.
Can I see the screen? Okay.
Okay. Okay, so this book, page 50. Okay, you ready? Shri Rupa Manjari Pada Se Mora Sampada
Shri Rupa Manjari Pada Se Mora Sampada
Se Mora Bhajana Pujana
Se Mora Bhajana Pujana
Se Mora Bhajana Pujana
Se Mora Bhajana Pujana
Se Mora Pranadhana Se Mora Abharana
Se Mora Pranadana Se Mora Abharana
Se Mora Jivana Jivana
Se Mora Jivana Jivana
Se Mora Jivana Jivana
Se Mora Jivana Jivana
Se Mora Hasanidhi Se Mora Vanshasiddhi
Se Mora Rasanidhi Se Mora Vancha Siddhi
Se Mora Vadera Dharama
Se Mora Vedera Dharama
Se Mora Vedera Dharama
Se Mora Vedera Dharama
Anukula Kave Vidhi Se Para Hoive Siddhi
Anukula Abhevidi Sepade Hoive Siddhi
Nirakivae Duinayane
Nirakivo Ei Duinayane
Shai Rupa Madhurasi Prana Kuvalaya Shashi
Rupa Madhuri Rasi Prana Kuvayala Shashi
Prapurita Have Nishidine
Prafulita Havenishi Dine
Prapurita Have Nishidine
Prafulita Have Nishidine
Tua Adashana Ahi Garale Jaralo Dehi Chiradinata Pita Jivana
Chiradina Tapita Jivana
Ha Prabhu Karadaya Deho More Parachaya
Ha Prabhu Karadaya Deha More Padachaya
Ha Prabhu Karadaya Deho More Parachaya
Ha Prabhu Karadaya Deha More Padachaya
Narottamai Lasharana
Narotama Loiro Sharana
Narottamai Lasharana
Narotama Loiro Sharana
Ha Prabhu Karanaya Deha More Parachaya
Ha Prabhu Karadaya Deha More Padachaya
Narottamai Lasharana
Gura Narottama Loinu Sharana
Narottamai Lasharana
Narottama Loinu Sharana
Jaya Rupa Goswami Jaya Rupa Goswami Jaya Rupa Goswami Jaya Rupa Goswami
Jaya Rupa Goswami Jaya Rupa Goswami Jaya Rupa Goswami Jaya Rupa Goswami
Jaya Narottam Das Thakur Narottam Das Narottam Das Thakur Narottam Das
Jaya Narottam Das Thakur Narottam Das Narottam Das Thakur Narottam Das
Jaya Guru Deva Jaya Guru Deva Jaya Guru Deva Jaya Guru Deva
Jaya Guru Deva Jaya Guru Deva Guru Deva Jaya Guru Deva
Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Prabhupada Shila Prabhupada
Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Shila Prabhupada
Jaya Bhakti Rakshak Jaya Sridhara Goswami Bhakti Rakshak Jaya Sridhara Goswami
Jaya Bhakti Rakshaka Jaya Sridhara Goswami Bhakti Rakshaka Sridhara Goswami
Hari Bol Hari Bol Hari Bol Gaura Hari Bol
Onita Gora Haribo
Haribo
Haribo Haribo Gora Haribo
Jai Shri Gaura